No Ideas Original?
Man, it was nerve-wracking because I had no rehearsal time.
Oh wow.
You
Yeah,
just feel raw, like
basically, I had to at the last minute request specific gear that I use because she was originally going to use Red Alert, who was there also doing sets, for some of the other people of
Shout
Native
out to Red Alert.
But because of my working relationship with Morning, she's like, "Yo, I'd like for you to do it." And I was like, "Cool." So I get on, and I already knew her set verbatim, from start to finish.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think Red Alert went before me, and he DJs backwards. And I'm explaining. X knows what I'm talking about. He DJs where he'll set the inputs where he's literally playing a platter from one side. He's cutting with one hand to the left, one hand to the right, backwards. So he had his input settings opposite of what I had. So when I came on, I'm playing the records and the input setting is off, and I had to figure it out on the fly in front of everybody.
Oh wow.
wow.
It was crazy. I had to literally Effects on the side of the stage, and I point to him like, "Yo, come here."
Yo, you know what's so crazy? It was so dope because it's like you ever saw like those old images of DJ Red Alert on the sideline looking at Bam while he's
Yeah.
So while he was doing that, I was like, "Wow, my leg, hold on." So,
Yeah, cool.
We got through it, but it was definitely dope. Dope.
It was fun though, and Mo was cool. Like I didn't have no literal mistakes as far as playing, but I had to adjust on the fly while playing her set. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That was important.
Boy, so when your next gig?
Yeah.
Man, we're in talks with doing a listening/networking event in January after the holidays.
Oh, okay.
To celebrate the release of Executive Decision and probably spotlight some exclusives from the next volume of Executive Decision.
Okay.
But yes, y'all heard it first. We're definitely doing a volume 2 the top of next year.
Nice.
Dope. It's only right. You know what I mean? Again, it's about building that brand and building that audience in the DSPs. I feel like if we get people's attention with this one, we gonna keep them with the next one.
Facts. Nova the Rebel, the making. Yo, what about now made you decide? And I know FX said he had it in the vault. Now was the right time to drop a record like that, telling your story so candidly.
Man, I feel like what I liked about the song when we recorded it, which was recorded like 2007 or 2008, it was around the time I was in talks with Koch Records to do a producer album. They had just did an Alchemist album over there, and I was in talks, and we had a budget discussion of about 100,000. But then Bob Perry, who was a VP at the time, was trying to bring my budget down to like 60,000. And I didn't agree to that because I felt like between the features that I had in mind that I had to pay and then marketing, I needed more money.
Gotcha.
The album was going to be called The Making. You know what I'm saying? So that song by Nova was basically me telling him about my life career and some of my accomplishments and some of the pitfalls in third person. So that's why each verse, he's breaking down some of the things that I've been through.
Yeah,
my music in each verse, and it led the ending of the song leads up to him saying my album The Making, which is why it ends that way, because it was talking about me getting ready to put out a producer album, which was planned for 2010, but I shelved it. I had features in place, songs in place, still in the vault that I never put out because I couldn't come to the negotiations I wanted with Koch at the time.
Wow, how about that? And FX, what made you say that this is the joint, this need to be on this project?
It basically it went sonically. I always have a theory. A song that's never heard is a new song.
How about that?
So BP had a whole nother totally different record for Nova. Right? So that was just me like, this record right here is dope. It's telling Bpzy's story already. And it's like, yeah, it's the making of the album, but it's still like the making of the ride that Bpzy is doing now.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because I want to tell you the truth. So when Bpzy was in talk of doing that album, and this is around the time I was actually dropping physical mixtapes, 2009, I was trying to get him to be an Untouchable.
Yeah.
That's how far back. See, he don't tell that story. when I was actually dropping physical mixtapes in the street every week, I was like, yo, bro, you doing the music, I got the streets. Come on, let's go. Let's Batman boogie this thing. So the making is like, yo, we here. Like, this is what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's fire. Yo, you know,
shout out to Nova, man. Like we've had a working relationship for years, and he's been developing some amazing catalog. He actually has a EP out called Vibes from the Soul, and I produced like 3 records on there. You know,
you want to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, check that out. He's definitely talented. What are your thoughts on this new wave of artists selling their catalogs?
It's funny you said that. I did that a year ago.
Oh,
But I'm gonna explain what I did. I basically sold the BMI performance royalty rights of all of my Duck Down Records catalog.
oh, wow.
Just my Duck Down Records catalog. That's it.
Okay.
So we're talking about the first 5 years of my career: Black Moon, Smith and Wesson, Helter Skelter, OGC. You know, all the boot camp albums, all that stuff. I basically sold for an undisclosed amount of money a year ago the BMI performance royalty earnings of that catalog. Meaning that the people who own it now, they still get the residual income,
license it,
every 3 months for the performance royalty earnings of those records for undisclosed amount of money they gave me up front to buy it from me.
Yeah. Let me how does that conversation start? Like, do you approach somebody, or are you engaged? Somebody engages you and say like, yo, this is something that we have interest in.
Well, there's a company that does that as a business, and I was familiar with this company. They contacted me, and they told me that I could set up an account with them and just attach my BMI login user, so they can literally, based on the activity of my catalog throughout the year, account for the value of my catalog and what it would go for. I would auction it. So I found that interesting, so I did it. So last year I signed up, I set up my BMI account, and they literally would email me estimates based on the value of my career catalog. I'm like, well, you can earn this amount of money if you were to sell this, or that amount of money if you were to sell that. And I was like, this is dope. I said, but the thing is, I don't want to sell all my catalog. I just want to sell that. You know what I'm saying? So from 1995 to 2000, which was mostly all the Duck Down records I produced, some undisclosed person actually bought out my performance royalty rights. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny thing is, when you set up an auction and you get the offers from buyers, they don't tell you who it is.
Oh, okay.
It's not like, for example, I won't see your name as the buyer. You know what I'm saying? That way I could go around the company to contact them directly to try to sell it. You see what I'm saying? They set it where they don't have a contact person. They just tell you the amount of money, and then they set up your account where if you approve, they facilitate the payment to your bank account and all that type of stuff.
Nice. All right, so I'm gonna reveal live. It was me that purchased it. Now
You sound like Effects. You sound like Effects. When I told him about it, first thing he would make a joke. So yeah, you know the flood flies mine right now.
But what I found out though, and not on Bpzy, but the stuff that's going on now. There's a hedge company that has nothing to do with music. That's actually buying up these people's publishing. Actually, you know, like you actually got people from like Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs and It's like, in stocks that's actually buying.
Yeah, it's true.
They're buying the bid. They're bidding, huh?
Yeah.
You know something? I don't know. I was thinking because I think didn't Justin Timberlake sell his for like 100 million or something like that? I'm wondering if it's that artists are looking at like how
I think
like
Future
the business.
did his too.
Which is that?
Future, I think, did his too.
Yeah.
The
Like,
business. I think artists are looking at like the business element in terms of the monetization piece and seeing what streaming is and how to actually go about how they're going about generating revenue and probably saying like, you know what, like I don't know what it's going to mean down. I know what the value of $100 million is today, but I don't know how much my catalog is actually going to generate down the line with all these different things coming into place. And I think the other part about it is maybe an artist at Justin Timberlake's magnitude, but I think like some of the smaller artists, you hear people saying stuff like, yeah, I want to own my masters and it's that, and y'all probably could speak to it more, but I'm not certain that a lot of artists even know how to monetize stuff like their masters.
It's true. Sync licensing is a major business. I watch television and I look at these streaming shows and series and movies, and I look at all the original music that's in there. Some of them are people I never heard of in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, somebody got to check.
Yeah.
And I look at commercials. I just saw a commercial earlier today. They had Annie Up in the background. I said, "Oh, wow, they got to check." Then there's a Peloton. There's a Peloton commercial. There's a Peloton commercial with that Swiss Beats record he did with Eve. The tambourine,
Yeah.
the tambourine. I'm like, oh man, gosh, she's just got to check. That's how I look at it, and I say to myself, man, a lot of the music supervisors that do jingles and do placements for that, they're out on the West Coast. Definitely want to make that more of my business. And the funny thing is, as an independent label owner, I have a lot of original catalog that I own. Some of them are not sample driven. That I won't have clearance issues that I can definitely pitch for licensing. Just got to be in the right rooms at the right time.
Yeah.
There you go.
In the 90s, I made more money off of film and television catalog than I do now. Like, I got songs on movie soundtracks and in films that I still earn from. Next Friday, High School High. Gold records or movie soundtracks. That was the shit in the 90s, man. If you got a placement on a movie soundtrack, you was in the money, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to say this too. Ever since I think, when we all heard that Puff gave everybody they
Publishing back.
They publishing back. This Faith record been on several commercials. I don't know if everybody peeped that.
Yeah.
And
Love Like This.
Love
Like this, yeah.
Yeah, and the Woe record too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you always hear a lot of artists talk about, my masters and this, that. But like I said, I don't know if people have gotten to the point where they think about like how they generate revenue beyond selling some merch or performing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
Some
seen
artists
that.
don't have the wherewithal or the resources to be able to do syncs. You're right.
I don't know if y'all seen it, but after 50 kind of dragged Rick Ross and Meek about those sales, Rick Ross just recently, I think it might have been yesterday, offered Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, and G Unit. He offered to buy Beg for Mercy, Lloyd Banks catalog, Tony Yayo, and Young Bucks, and said he'd give him $2 million for all of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 50 is wild. 50. But Rick Ross is wild. But 50 was wild for clowning him to begin with, because I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of that project either. The Rick Ross and Meek Mill joint. I was like, it's all right.
Cool.
Yeah. But
there's a couple cuts on there, but it's cool.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think like in this era, it's just like music is so disposable. So people are just like, you know what? How much did it actually cost me to actually put this project together? As long as I can make the money to recoup that and then throw a little bit more money in my pocket, stay relevant and keep moving and moving to the next project. I feel like Jim Jones did that a lot during the pandemic. Like, to me, Jim Jones was selling everything at the height of the pandemic. And
because that Lobby Boys album came and went. The one he did with me.
It did. I was initially looking forward to it. I thought it was.
I was hyped off that album too. Best to tell you, when I started listening to that, I was trying to pick it apart and decide how much I liked it. But yeah,
It was the album that came before it. I don't know if y'all remember.
El Capo?
Was it album? No.
Capo's the one he did with Heatmakers, right?
Yeah, Capo was good.
That was a dope album.
Capo was good.
That was a good album. Capo was a good
That
album.
That was the one just before the pandemic.
Yeah, I think that was Capo. I think was just before the pandemic.
El Capo.
That was a good album.
It was.
You can make an argument that Jim Jones, recently Cam has resurged. He's had a resurgence, but for a while, Jim sounded more inspired as an artist than Cam did.
Right.
His confidence got up, man, and he started really saying something. You make it look like, all right, Jim, you improving, bro. All right.
Yeah. Jim started getting real hungry. You're right.
Yeah, he started to improve a little bit.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't agree. I don't know if you guys seen this, but I don't agree with the sentiment that him and that Cam and May said that, where they said something like that Jewels had the potential to be the next Jay-Z. I thought Jewels was talented, but I don't know if I agree with that.
I know there was a lot. I know for me, on the mixtape side of things, I think this is my opinion. I think when Jewels was doing a lot of features with Lil Wayne, Lil Wayne fed off Jewels.
Wayne got better rocking with Jewels.
Once he had got his DNA, Lil Wayne was off to the races.
Yeah, I agree. That Can't Feel My Face album, I think, even though it never came out, I think that's when Wayne got really better with his bars.
I can agree with that. What is your thought of the Nas last two projects, the King's Disease 3 and the Last Magic?
The Last Magic, it's a lot of fast forward for me. I love Nas as far as MCing, but the music didn't really hit me.
You like Slow It Down?
Slow It Down was probably one of the better records. I like what he's talking about on that record.
He's talking about
yeah.
That might have
been. I definitely listen to Nas for subject matter, not just production. You know what I mean? Like what he's talking about. And Slow It Down was fire. Like the shit he said on that record is crazy. It hit me like after a couple listens. It didn't hit me on the first listen. Slow It Down particularly hit me after a couple listens. It's funny you brought it up because that song, I called Moni about that song. Like, yo, did you hear this record? Yeah, he said some shit on that record. That's the one. That's the one where it's like a flip of Marvin Gaye, right, with the piano.
Yeah,
it's fire. That's fire.
Yeah, he's that to me that King's Disease 3 didn't have any replay value for me. It just didn't. King's Disease 2 didn't really have any replay value for me either, and I couldn't understand, like, even the joint he got with 50. I'm like, why? It seemed like 50 got like 8 bars.
That was a throwaway record to me.
That's what I thought too.
I felt like it too. Like, they just threw that on there.
Yeah, I'm like,
he's fucking around in the studio, and he's like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna throw the 50 joint on there so niggas can hear us together. Fuck it.
But King's Disease 3 I liked a lot. I thought that was really good. I was listening to. I had drove down to Maryland over the weekend, and I listened to like King Disease 1 through 3 all over again. I was like, this is a good body of work. Initially, I was like, well, now I am. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm done with hearing him with Hit Boy. I don't need to hear him with Hit Boy no more.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I'm off that. I feel like I don't know what happened after they did the Scratch Magazine article, but him and Primo are supposed to have been made an album.
Yeah. Waiting for that.
Yeah. What do you think about? I don't know.
I feel like him and Lost Professor should have done an album.
I think that'd be crazy.
Hold on. Now you talking, Bpzy.
Yeah, I think that'd be crazy.
What is LP doing though? Is he just?
He's working. He's
smoking beef for a lot.
Yeah,
he's doing these 45 sets with Diamond D all over the place. He got these sets.
He's on his DJ shit. Yeah, he's on his DJ shit. But
he be with Lord Ness doing the Smoking Beats too. Shout out to Lord Ness. Yeah, he do Smoking Beats with Lord Ness.
Paul being one of my favorite producers, I like how he finds the breaks and the grooves.
Oh, he's nasty
for his songs. Like looking out the front door. If you listen to that album, all the grooves. The fucking album is so groovy and hip hop. You gotta be like, Yeah, this nigga
Yeah.
got
To me, main source.
even friendly game of baseball and got you.
That album was crazy.
To me, Main Source's first album was like the blueprint to 90s hip hop.
Absolutely.
I can see
Because everything after that changed. Even what Tribe was doing changed. Tribe first album was more loop driven.
Yeah.
He would loop some dope shit and put drums to it.
Right.
It wasn't until after that first album they were more intricate with their music selection, their drum tracks, and their programming. By the time they did Midnight Marauders, forget it.
Locked in.
Yeah.
You know? And I think arguably between Tribe and Pete Rock's music, you're like Main Source just set the tone for making those albums better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I ain't
I had the honor of helping them with their reunion tour and licensing their first album to a curated vinyl back in 2018. We had a great time, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A large got some personal projects that are nice too.
Yeah. Yeah. I never had him as being like a crazy MC or whatever, but he definitely could rap. Right.
See, I think Large is a student of Rakim. Like, if you look at how he raps and even his demeanor in the public space, he studied Rakim. He's a big Rakim fan. He studied him like no end. And I feel like even watching him when we went on tour, I learned that his only vice is that, you know, he doesn't have the confidence to be on stage in front of large crowds.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if it's more intimate, he'll get out and rock. Like stadium levels, he doesn't have it in him. It's like he just wants to get off the stage.
Wow.
I think that's the only thing that hinders MrFx as a rapper, specifically.
Yeah.
Is being able to connect to large crowds and be fearless about it.
Yeah.
Nas went through that too for years until he did Stillmatic. Stillmatic was the first real like tour he did for years. After the Stillmatic album, he started touring more.
Yeah. Now I had like early shows like Illmatic. When Illmatic came out, saw like 9 shows. I've seen his performance has gotten a lot better too.
Way better.
Yeah. I've seen shows where like dude flubbed like mad lyrics.
Yeah. Right. The way Nas is so intricate. If you don't remember his shit, yeah. You know?
Yeah, I seen joints like I think the best concert I seen was the Madison Square Garden joint he had, the one night at Madison Square Garden. That was a crazy performance.
Yeah.
The other joint that I seen that was really good, I was at the Central Park when he did the Central Park joint. Right. And it wasn't because it was like a good stage show, it was just the time, it was the moment, you know, like you know, that made it good. But I've been through like other performances where I'm like, you know, it's just, I guess because it's Nas.
Right.
You know, but it wasn't like it was like a crazy stage show.
One thing I have one thing to say about like when Nas performances, if you notice, he always performs Illmatic, Stillmatic. So my thing is like this.
He got catalog way beyond.
The fans want to hear your best album. They want to hear it was written. You want to hear those records. You know what I'm saying?
I got a concert of footage of him in Europe, and he would do those songs. He would do like Fake Thug, Show Love, that joint off like he was going in. He did the message. He did a couple joints on that, but that was a Europe show. It wasn't New York or in the States.
You know what? So this is the age-old debate too that everybody's saying. If we already know where you stand, FX. Because we had Doo-Wop, we had DJ Doo-Wop on here, and me and him was talking about it, going back and forth too. He was like, yo, he feels It Was Written was a better album than Illmatic. My position on it, to be real with you, is that It Was Written showed him in the light of a songwriter. It was, the songs were better written, you know, it was better hooks and things like that. In terms of like raw lyricism, I would say Illmatic. But I seen his evolution. Like, I see why people have that debate and that discussion about, you know, which album will be better. You know, commercial success, clearly It Was Written. But it's just something about Illmatic that I think that just you know, like the nostalgia of it is something about Illmatic that is always going to be for me like his best work.
I think it's this. I think it's the storyline. It's the document. I'm just going to say it like this: the fact that you had all these incredible, you know, producers at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You had Q-Tip, with Tribe Called Quest, when Tribe Called Quest was hot. You had Pete Rock. Pete Rock was hitting.
Premier.
You had Premier when Premier. I mean, right off the cuff of, you know, Main Source. So, you know, if you take in that and everybody in there, then you had Premier. So it's like the whole, like, it's the whole Cinderella storyline behind that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But for me, I always go with, like, at that particular time, seeing like all the second albums was like better to me
Than people first.
Than people first. Like even if you look at, a lot of people don't like whole second album, but if you think about it, if you take away the commercial success records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those away, and think about those songs and like, you know, those particular songs, like Imaginary Players and
Watching what's on there.
Streets is Watching and See Me and things like that. That album to me was sonically better than
Reasonable Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt.
I would still go Reasonable Doubt, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why I would go Reasonable. The reason why I would go Reasonable Doubt is because I feel like I was saying earlier, I feel like a lot of the records on his second album was him demonstrating like, yo, I want to have crossover appeal, right, and going in saying like, yo, I need a big radio record instead of creating a record organically to make it the radio. Now, on the first album, Ain't No, which became a big radio record organically. I don't know if he set out and made that saying like, yo, I want to make this and this is gonna go to radio. It just
Can't Knock the Hustle with Mary.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, like if you take away, of course, you know, the record that he had with Babyface and Brooklyn Crew, you know what I'm saying? If you take away those commercial records, right? Take away those commercial records. That album is still, to me, a better record, a better album.
He had City Is Mine. He had I Know What Girls Like on it. I'm like, I'm not gonna front. I like the records, but I'm just like, from this to, you know, and
see, those are the three records. Those are the three records. You know, gets the fast forward. Like I know what girls like. The Babyface record, Brooklyn Crew. Now you take away those three records, everything else is crazy. You gotta take away.
You say you get look at Bpzy reaction. What'd you say, Bpzy?
I'm agreeing with him because it was the fluff records that make you not pay attention to the art records. The art records was like Imaginary Player, Lucky Me, Streets Is Watching, where he was still MCing and he was definitely talking that talk.
Friend of Foe.
And talking that money talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rap Game. He had Rap Game, Crack Game on there. He had
that was hard.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to. Let me ask you a question. If y'all go song for song, right? So, you know, the first album, it was like, what was his radio records on that?
Can't Knock the Hustle.
Ain't No.
Yeah.
And something else.
Probably that. Can't Knock the Hustle. Ain't I don't know. That's
were they playing Can I Live?
Nah, they wasn't playing Can I Live like that.
Okay.
They weren't playing Can I Live.
So
those were probably the two.
Yeah.
Now you take away those two, right? So I remember buying that from where I bought that from? I bought that from Hot Wax. I bought that from Hot Wax in Jamaica Avenue. I remember sunning that cassette I bought it, listened to it. I was like, man, yo, and I sold it. And I copped it years later. You know, I copped that album years later.
I can't front. Effects made me want to listen to that second Jay-Z album when I get off the phone.
It's a good album. I'm not playing. It's a good album.
Jay's spitting on there. There's some joints on there.
We had Mike Geronimo on too, and I was saying to Mike Geronimo, like, yo, for me, Mike Geronimo's first album, The Natural, I liked it. You know, based on the time frame of everything that was going on. You know, you had the Nas, you had the Black Moon, you had the Big Allen. It just OC first album, Word Life. That's one of my favorite albums.
Yeah,
it just
first album.
Yeah,
He's
it just
surviving internationally off that record.
Yeah, but it seemed like everybody stepped up their thing on the second. Like I know for a fact, Mike Geronimo. Listen, Mike Geronimo's second album was fire.
But people always put records fingers at the what we call the fluff records, like the Puff songs.
He started messing with Puff, the Hitman, and all that. And when we had him on, I was like, yo, was this a decision by you or was it by the label to actually put these records together? Because he had a formula that worked for him. And I respect that artists should have the right to grow and take risk. I understand that. But it was just like blatant commercial attempts, and I'm like, this ain't you, bro. Like, you know, why are you making this? Like his to me, Mike Geronimo's first album is better than his second album.
I had to disagree.
Okay.
Because Mike Geronimo's second album is the introduction of DMX, the introduction of Jay-Z. You had Flush on it.
Flush was on the first album too.
Yeah, Flush was on it, but the song was better.
What song was Flush on the second album? On the first album, he was on Master IC. That was
Master IC.
Second album wasn't bad, but it was just too many.
That second album.
What was the name of that second album? I don't remember.
Vendetta. Remember he sampled the joint Single Life? He had Jay-Z on it. I'm living
a single.
I like that record.
Carl Thomas and Jay-Z on it. It's like it was taking them. It was taking them to now. You're gonna hear Flush in the clubs. You're gonna hear them in what was the club at the time? The Kit Kat Club. Now you're gonna hear them in rotation. You know, you're gonna get your 1-2 on.
Did you like Nothing But what was it? Nothing Move But the Money?
The Prestige joint.
Yeah,
I like that.
Wasn't for me.
With the transformation sample, I love the sample.
It wasn't. I mean, I just, you know what it is. I'm coming off.
For me, it didn't work for Mike though. I like the record more than I like Mike on the record.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that, you know, artists want to grow. I think labels get behind them and they see like, all right, you know what, you have moderate success with your first project. What do we need to do to put you over the edge? Because clearly they put more marketing dollars into it. The budget was bigger. He had the Hitman behind.
So let me ask you a question. So did y'all want it records where, you know, you just heard it and just the bop was this?
Nah, I'm not stuck in boom bap. I said,
I'm not saying in boom bap. I'm just saying where it's just like, you know, sometimes we get caught up in the lyrics is superb, but the music doesn't do nothing for you. You know, like
I look at Nas's career is defined by that.
Yeah, I look at some music, and me as a DJ, where will you play that?
That's a fact. Yeah,
the only record you're gonna play on Mike Geronimo's first album is It's Real.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had the remix to the Lost Boy record.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. I just think that sometimes like people, you know, it's like
I had to respect, because at the time in the Palladium they was playing Master IC. So the sound was different, but to me it sounded like it sound too Brooklyn-y for me. it sounded like it could have been a duck down record.
Okay. Okay.
Musically, Master IC does feel like a boot camp record.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Buckshot.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely
I
does.
could have easily heard Buckshot on that track. You're right.
And the second album sounded more like a Queens record or Queens album.
The second album to me gave me like Bad Boy vibes.
Well, because you had no disrespect. You had Nasheem
Merritt.
Yeah, that's Queen.
Yeah. From first to second album, a person whose second album I think was better than their first album, y'all may disagree with me on this, is I thought Cam's second album, I like Cam's second album better than I like this first album. But I think his first
Confessions of Fire, that was that first?
The first album. Confessions of Fire was the first album. Second album was Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment.
SDE. Okay.
Yeah. And the first album, I think that from him being, initially linked with Mace and seeing Mace success, I think he set out to make a whole bunch of commercial attempt records. And, like he had good records on there, but it just was, I'm like, nah, like I heard 357 joint. I'm like, yo, this dude really could spit. And then I heard Horse and Carriage, similar to what you saying, FX. Like, it don't always have to be the same bop. It was like, your Horse and Carriage is crazy. And I'm expecting more along the lines of that. And then I start hearing like some of these other records. Not that they were horrible records, but like he had the joint with Usher with the was it the Teddy Pendergrass sample, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He had Jermaine Dupri rocking and rolling. Like he had a lot of records like that. And I'm like, why,
See, you got to remember, we came from a town where prior to that, everybody's first album, it is what it was. But then I had to say somewhere between like 93, 94. Because I'll give you another example. Tribe Called Quest's second album was better than the first one.
Agreed. Yeah, we agree on something. I agree with that.
Fat Joe's second album was way better.
It was light years better than light years. But you know why that is? There was another pin behind it too. So I think the second album may have been like the inception of the Big Pun pin getting involved.
But then when we get to 1998, then it went backwards. Then, like for me, RIP to DMX. I like DMX first album. Then I like his second album. Then it went backwards.
But you know why that was? DMX was scorching hot with that first album, and Def Jam stepped to him and was like, yo, can we get a second project? I think DMX was like one of the first dudes to put out 2 albums in the same year.
Yeah.
No. So he was hot and they wanted to capitalize on it. So, I'm gonna leave y'all with this one. This is an unpopular opinion that me and people debate a lot. During the time, I thought it was a cool album, but it hasn't aged well to me. Volume 2 Hard Knock Life album, for me now, listening to that, I just listen to it, I'm like, it's just not for me. Like, I don't know if it's like the Swizz beats and now like sonically where we are, I can't. Yeah, like I never thought that was a great record, honestly. I never thought that.
What made that record to me was DMX.
Yeah,
he hyped that record up in the hood.
See? Now I guarantee you, if you listen to the second album,
I would take the second album over that. I would, but I'm a dude who likes samples and shit like that. I don't like the computer.
Yeah, and the Hard Knock Life was the classic. Rest in peace, 45 King.
That was a classic.
Like you said, there was a lot of flossy records on that Hard Knock Life album. Money the Thing was another record that was on there, and so was that song with Emil, Can I Get Her?
Can I Get Her?
These are all hit records off the single. Those are all
whose album is
carried that album. Can I Get Her? Money the Thing and Hard Knock Life were the songs that carried that album.
Yeah.
You know whose album is really underrated? Is Jermaine Dupri.
Life in 14.
Life in 14.
Yes.
1942 or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
You know what's my joint that I always a sentimental joint, the joint with Mariah Carey. I always love that joint. Just because I always like that old record, the Sweetheart joint.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is a better record than he get credit for.
Yeah, I like jazz. I like jazz.
This is great dialogue, Shad, for real. Yo, you
Yeah.
definitely had us tapped in tonight, man. We was talking about Lola Brooke before we started doing the interview, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm not crazy about that record is I feel like there is a trendy thing in mainstream hip hop where
I know what it is.
do these reaches where they regurgitate a classic record to make the singles, and I feel like Lola Brooke is talented enough to carry the weight of original songs without having that.
Yeah.
I feel like Lola Brooke could have created a path for her artistry the same way Foxy created a path for her artistry, where it's one thing to use a sample, but she's sampling a sample. Do you understand what I'm saying with that single?
Well, it's the cheat code. You know what I think the difference is? So sampling before was actually digging in the crates. Now the stuff they sampling, and I don't know, and I'm like, damn,
they're sampling a rap song.
It's so modern too.
It's like a sample of a sample.
Yeah, I mean, what about you like the Burna Boy joint with Sitting on Top of the World sample?
I hated that record when it came out, but I get it. I get it.
It's the cheat code.
Yeah, it is the cheat code.
It's the cheat code. It's what people do.
It worked, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh God.
I think a general rule of thumb for me though is that like, and this is like, Yada do beats, we got like other dudes that do beats and all that. I don't touch no keys. I just have ideas and stuff like that. So to me, I just go with what sounds good to me and what feels good to me. So I'm a purist in the sense that I love and I enjoy music, but I don't put any, I don't have a qualifier around it like, yo, this sample's too new or this, that, or whatever. Like if I hear it and it sounds good, I'm like, I can fuck with that. It sounds good, kind of thing. But I get what you're saying and where you're going with it because I look down
like Lola, like she was on to something when she had her first hit.
Oh, that was
not like
don't play with it.
That energy going with the way she raps, her talent is there. Find some original musical ideas, like your show says. No ideas original, man. I just wanted to see more of that. Her getting bigger and bigger without having to just borrow from something that already was a hit.
Yeah.
Who y'all talking about?
Lola.
Yeah.
Nah, I love that record, man.
Yeah, I know you do.
And the reason why is because it's like, Bpzy sound like my mom's.
I get it though. She's paying homage. Brooklyn, female rapper, blah blah.
No, it's like like what Bpzy is saying, right? I remember the very first time my mom's heard Sugar Hill. When she heard
that's Untouchable.
the Sugar Hill rap. It's the hip hop, the hip. And when she heard that, she was she was like, you mean to tell me you listened to something that this took from Good Times?
Yeah.
And then when my mom's kept hearing rap records and things like that, she kept pointing out, oh, this is this is this is this. So she was saying in her defense that rap music is not really is not a good genre of music because it keeps taking from familiar records. Yeah. I don't care how much you chop it up and try to disguise it. Like the older folks, like, my aunt's age, my mom's age, they heard it.
Well, maybe we've shifted from the era where it's about finding a sample that's unknown to people to an era where it's like, this is, like I said, this is the cheat code. We already know this record was a hit before. Why it can't be a hit now?
Right. I mean, that was the point, to be honest.
Yeah.
It worked for him.
Well,
in the 90s.
I'm going to say like this. Didn't hip hop started with, because if that's the case, the generation like the forefathers, they older brothers did not approve of hip hop because the breaks, everything was at the B side.
Yeah.
Well, it was the break. It was the break that started the party.
It was the break that started the party, but those breaks is original songs.
Yeah, they come from original songs.
Yeah, they come from original songs, but you gotta understand this too. Like you gotta think like you got somebody who's in their 60s, but the person that's in their 70s, when they hear that record, it's like, we playing a break, but they hearing the whole song.
Whole 7
Yeah,
minutes.
so they looking at it as this is not original. This is the song.
Right.
So it plays right into what Bpzy is saying. Like, well, you taking something that was a hit and you recreating it. How much you gonna you know what I'm saying? So
does the average music consumer listen for artistry though? Like, are they listening for, yo, where's that sample from? Or, or like, oh, yo, I like how those hi-hats sound, or yo, what, that's a great snare, or the average consumer listening for that kind of stuff?
No.
I think the older generation. I think each generation.
We listen to records different than these younger kids, period.
But you know why? Let me go to FX. You know why the older generation probably do? Because musicianship was different. There was more of appreciation.
Yeah. So right now,
the megahertz in which we were listening to music was a lot different too. It was a lot slower, and it went to your rhythm heartbeat rate, like your 432 rhythm, boom boom bap, boom boom bap. Now shit, brr bap. That shit is crazy, son.
but see, the thing is though, that always happened because you had disco.
That's true.
Disco was sped up, but it was still boom boom bap.
Not really. We made it because we slowed it down.
What's a good disco song? I can't think of one right now. Jesus.
Okay, Donna Summers.
Mm-hmm.
I turn around, whatever that what you call it. That thing was 136.
Once you slow that down, ding.
But you see what you had to do? You had to like I tell you another one. All About the Benjamins. That's a disco record. That's a chic. Ding 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 ding. My mom's hear that. They getting ready. They getting ready to clear the
cut a rug
for the right break.
Yeah. But see, when Diddy slowed it, with Puff, D Dot slowed it down and made it into ding 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 ding. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at it.
That was a genius record.
So when my mom heard that record, All About the Benjamins,
that was a genius record.
She's not hearing the genius of what D Dot is doing. She's hearing chic.
Because when we were sampling, it was like, people like you had to dig in the crates to find the sample. Even if it was a popular record, there was sort of like an art rule that it had to be a certain amount of time passed before. But now somebody could put out a record, and then 2 years later, somebody sampling it, redoing it over.
So what was your thoughts when the first time when y'all heard? What was your thought the first time when you heard Foxy Brown, "Get Me Home Tonight" with Blackstreet? And I can tell you what my moms in that generation was saying. They was everything that Bpzy is saying right now. My moms, I had to hear that coming from my moms and my aunt and my uncles. They was like, that shit is trash. Because they thought we
ruined it.
In
their defense, if I had a choice, you told me I could listen to either record, I probably would listen to the original.
Right.
Yeah, because if you listen to it, the instrumentation, right? Think about it. The instrumentation, the chorus. Get you home with me tonight. Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I think who was saying this, Shaw, when we went to the studio? Jay Supreme. He was saying Puff was people don't dance no more, period. But what Puff did, D Dot, Hitmakers, they found the groove, the shit that just made you, even if it was on loop, you was still gonna do this.
Yeah. Nah, I ain't gonna front. But
perfect example is what they did with that Biggie record with Hypnotized. That's such an in-your-face Chuck Mangione record.
But see,
Yeah.
again, we like the records, right? But we not thinking about the generations, 2 generations ahead of that. Herb Alpert didn't think that record was hot.
Yeah, that's true. I to go back to the Foxy stuff, but like off of Foxy first project, if you put Foxy's first project side by side with Lil' Kim's first project, and I was probably a bigger Foxy fan back then, to me, Lil' Kim's project aged better than Foxy's to me. Like I probably a few years ago, I listened to both of them back, and I was like, damn, like a lot of this stuff, like even the samples that Trackmasters pick, you know, I'm like, I don't, you know, I think she had the joint with like the Luther sample or something. I remember hearing on Clue Tape the original Nasty Boy. It was the Nasty Boy joint before it changed to I'll Be Good.
Right.
And to me, the original Nasty Boy joint was better than that. I'm like, damn, you sampling that? Like it was just too many popular samples. Like the shelf life.
It was a lot of reaching.
Yeah, I was like, nah, like I'm not for this. I mean, for the time it worked, but it just
we gotta remember we almost turn it into, when it comes down to the newer artists, we almost sounded like our parents. And verbatim, Bpzy said exactly the same thing, line by line, to every. And what's so bugged out now, and I tease my moms about this. Now, my moms, you know, oh, let me see Straight Out of Compton. Let me see this. So now when they hear certain records that they was critiquing and they were saying that it wasn't hot, now all of a sudden they like, it's okay. They could tolerate it now.
Yo, but I've kind of made a commitment to try to keep my ears young. So like a lot of stuff that people listen to, you know, that they be like, nah, yo, that the young people shit, this, that. I'll be like, nah, the shit is good.
That's MrFx.
Yeah.
I try to open my ear.
Yeah.
And he gets mad if he get in the car and yo, man, all you do is listen to these young niggas. No.
Nah, you gotta, like, I want my ears to stay young. So like my kids be like, yo, you heard this person, you heard that, or this, that. I go listen to it. I'm like, if it's dope, I'm gonna be like, yo, it's dope. This shit is fire. If it's trash, I'm gonna be like, it ain't for me.
I really want you to listen to that 2 Chainz Wayne album and tell me what you think.
Yeah, I'm
gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, right? And you could be honest. How many newer artists that got real dope shit with his replay value?
Let me see.
New artists, not a lot, man.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know if newer artists are making records with the intentions of having replay value, because I think the way things are set up now, they know, yo, you know what? You think about it right now. So you said y'all just finished your project and we like at the top of the year, we're gonna put another project out. That's where I think we are musically, where it's like, yo, you know, you put a project out, a month will go by and somebody be like, yo, when your new shit coming out? Remember before people was dropping, and so now everything I think is about like the kids say, like a bop, like, oh, yo, that shit is a vibe, you know, that's going to rock on TikTok or whatever it is. I don't know if they creating music that's sustainable anymore. You know, and you see, like, look at our contemporaries. You see like Nas and Wu-Tang right now touring. And they touring, you know, like Nas went to when Nas had the Madison Square Garden, shit, he got bigger reception off his old songs than his new shit.
It's true, because yo, even when he brought out Head Boy, he looked like a deer in headlights on the stage, bro. Like he didn't know what to do with himself. He just standing there like, okay, I'm here. All right.
Yeah, it's
and think of all of albums Nas did, and he could barely perform them on stage.
Yeah. It's to me, it really speaks to, and it goes back to just you think about like the generations in terms of music. Like music is supposed to be timeless, but now music is kind of shifted to being disposable as a result of, I think, like streaming and stuff like that. And back to the direct to consumer approach. Like, when your next shit coming out?
Peace, do you still dig in the crates?
Oh yeah, I do.
You do?
I do it digitally now though.
Right.
I don't do as much vinyl, only because I don't want to take up the storage space. But I do have I have a mental library of a lot of vinyl stuff that I no longer keep, that I curate in digital format. But I also discover like a lot of music in digital format that I pull from. Like I've been pulling from some jazz and alternative records that I've been tapping into. And I'm using them Serato stems like a motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
Breaking them shits down.
Yo, why you
Sometimes
doing?
call me. I don't even answer my phone because I'm listening to some shit like
Why you doing? Yo, why you doing that when you could just sample? I'll be sure night and day.
Man.
Put it out as a single.
Yo, you know what's so crazy? Is y'all laughing, but
I don't see nothing wrong with it though.
That
really
night day
don't.
was a classic.
And my whole thing is like, this is the thing that really killed me with quote unquote the legends. No, I'm not even gonna say the legends. I'm gonna say it's a specific time period of producers. And it's coming
he about to say, I'm talking to you, nigga.
It's from 94. It's 94 to like 97. Those producers that got in the game. For some strange reason, they would not do anything from a certain time period.
Purist.
Yeah, the purists.
Yeah.
The largest, the Pete Rocks, the Premiers, they're not changing, bro. They're not changing. Buck Wild, he's not changing. He's not changing. That's why AZ album sound the way it do. He's not changing.
I was surprised. I was surprised with on the Jay-Z album. What was the supposedly retirement album? What was the Jay-Z retirement? What was it?
Black Album.
The Black Album. The Black Album with Ninth Wonder did, and that was a fairly new flip. Didn't he do like the R. Kelly sample?
Right.
Yeah.
This is a warning. Yep.
I was like, damn.
Yeah. But think about when Ninth Wonder got into the game. See, that time period that I'm talking about.
The Ninth Wonder sound, he's a student of Premier Pete Rock. Everything.
That's why it surprised me. I'm like, Ninth Wonder did this? Damn.
Yeah.
The whole programming and everything feel like a Primo record.
Yeah. It must have been a situation where Jay-Z went to him and was like, I want you to sample this.
He definitely, because I watched the interview. He said Jay gave the idea, told him to use it, and then put it together.
Yeah, because I couldn't see when I was like, yo, Ninth Wonder, I can't see Ninth Wonder sitting down and be like, let me go through I ain't gonna go through the crates. I'm just gonna go to this. Put that R. Kelly CD in. Let me sample that. But it's a good record though. It's a good record. So
because in the background, the whole concept of what Jay's saying, he's got this is a warning in the background. You know what I mean? The piano sequence. And then the whole verses is threat, and then he puts Cedric the Entertainer narrating the choruses. It's an incredible record conceptually.
Yeah. What did you think of that album, FX?
I like that album.
Yeah, I like the Black Album too.
That was a dope album.
That was a dope album.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna front. I liked probably my initial favorite was Encore originally.
Yeah.
But then I think
because you heard it too much.
Lucifer, I liked a lot too.
That's fire. And even 99 Problems, when you really listen to that, because I just love
Rick
Rubin's work, man. Like you look back to that first Beastie Boys album, man. That's
was my shit.
I remember I was in a music store. I don't know if FX was with me.
You can still rock to that today, yo.
You know it's No Ideas Original.